Thank you, Clay. Thank you. It's good to be in Frisco, Texas. It's good to be in Texas. It's good to see so many Patriots, so many good smiling faces, people that are excited to be free. My name is Chad Prather. I'm normally introduced as an internet sensation, which is internet sensation is it's 21st century way of saying I'm unemployed, but I'm popular. So good to be with you guys. God bless America. God bless Texas. You know, it's interesting. We say that phrase a lot, God bless America or God bless Texas. It's easy in the course of your adult life to say that so many times that it loses its meaning. And you forget that we are products of divine providence. We have had the grace of God and the mercy of God and God's directing hand. He's not just some clockmaker who wound us up and turned us loose to fend for ourselves, but he's actively involved in the affairs of human history, and particularly us, because the Bible says that God gives grace to the humble, but he resists the proud. And the affront of big government across our country, and even in the state of Texas, is us thumbing our nose at God and saying, thank you for bringing us thus far, but we're going to take it from here. We've got to stop that. It's time that we take our freedom back, take our liberty, because trust me, the heart of revival is when you find a pain point, you find people who are shackled and people who have been bound up, and you start setting them free. And there's nobody more excited than a person who's been set free. And big government has become this one big all-consuming blob that just rolls through our lives, and everything it touches, it eats, and it grows bigger, and it keeps on rolling and consuming more, and it leaves people like you and me in its wake. So last year, July 2020, I was in South Dakota, and I was sitting there. I was having dinner with a group of folks. Don Trump Jr. was in the room. He was there, and my phone went off. We were waiting on the president to come speak at Mount Rushmore the following night, and my phone went off, and there was an announcement, a news announcement that said that the governor of Texas had issued more mandates that were deeming certain businesses and people as non-essentials. And so I don't know if it was because I was drinking wine that night or sitting with a Trump, but I took to Twitter. And I tweeted that I was going to run for governor in 2022 in the state of Texas. And I was going to get into the primary race. Now, I'm not a politician. I'm reluctant at best. And I just thought, hey, we're going to see how this thing goes. I had no idea the groundswell of support and the momentum that was going to be there for people who were excited because they too were tired of tyranny. And folks, we've got enough tyranny. We've got big government on the federal level, on the state level. We know that Texas has a target on its back by the federal government because this administration hates Texas. And we know that because every time you turn the television on and you look at the crisis at the southern border, you just see Texas. You don't see New Mexico, Arizona, or California. They focus on Texas. The illegals are coming to Texas because Texas is that last true bastion of freedom. Now, we're not overwhelmingly statistically great, but let me tell you something. Our humble arrogance is huge. Everything is bigger in Texas. Now, we'll tell you that, but we'll also bend down and help you when you're in a crisis. And God bless the folks in Arkansas, Illinois, and Kentucky right now. We'll help you. When Hurricane Harvey hit, we didn't have to get mandated to take care of our neighbors. We just loaded up the trucks and started driving south. We were being told we were non-essential. And we know the federal government wants this last bastion of true prideful liberty. And I say prideful in a very good way. We're proud of our freedom. We're proud of our legacy. And they know that we have the size, the economy, the leverage, the people, the drive, the dignity, the sense of history and destiny that we could put Washington, D.C. back on track. They don't want to be put back on any sort of track that we have anything to do with. We're that rock that the rest of the nation sort of looks to and anchors their sense of freedom to. It says, well, let's see how Texas does. And these days, that shift, that gaze is turned towards Florida. But I want to make Texas great, and I want to make sure that we get politics boring again. And let's get government out of our lives. We've seen an increase of spending in this state by $48 billion. That's not fiscal conservatism in the last 7 years. We know that we've had a problem with this government here getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that tyranny on the state level is starting to really hurt my neck because the boot prints don't feel good. And now you want to factor in judicial tyranny and educational tyranny, things like CRTV, which is just a repackaged, relabeled Marxism that's been around for a long time. And they're trying to cram it down the throats of our children in this public education brainwashing camp that's built on Dewey and Mann socialism and humanism that churns out little Marxists, sends them to these education facilities known as colleges and universities. They come out of there after 4 or 5 years deeply in debt with a degree in undecided. We have no sense of identity. We can't think critically. We can't think with any complexity of thought. And so we've just churned out a whole generation of internet trolls. We got to stop that, folks. We got to stop it. We've got corporate tyranny. We're seeing that with the vaccines and the mandates. We've got medical tyranny. Just this morning, I was driving in from Beaumont, Texas, and I saw a billboard on the side of the highway that said, it had medical professionals on the picture, and it said, "Not all heroes wear capes." And I thought, well, isn't that interesting? Apparently in the state of Texas, not all heroes get to keep their jobs anymore either. The tyranny's got to be fought back. And let me tell you something, the biggest threat to tyranny is people who love freedom. That's why everywhere I go, I always remind people that in 1773, a few of our founding fathers went out into Boston Harbor over taxation without representation and to fight against the monarchy of King George and his overreach. They started spilling tea into those black waters. And I keep telling people everywhere we go, I say, I want to go down to Travis County, Texas, and have an Austin tea party. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of it. I don't want to be told that I'm non-essential, that I can't do business, that I'm going to lose my job, that I can't go to church, that I can't go to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym. But constitutionally, when I sign a contract with a gym, guess what? The government can't come in and make that contract null and void. That's a constitutional violation. And our constitutional rights are being trampled on over and over again to the point where we don't even recognize it anymore. We just sweep it under the rug and move on. So I'm encouraging folks to get free. Take your liberty back. Let's make sure that we're not told what to do anymore. That you know, us conservatives, us radical, wild-eyed conservatives, you right-wing, red hat-wearing meanies, you want to be left alone. You want to make as much money as you possibly can. Keep as much of it as possible. Raise your children. Educate them without fear of indoctrination, and maybe one day retire and sit on the front porch, drink a Shiner beer, and watch your grandchildren play in the yard. Now, doesn't that sound like insurrectionist behavior? People say to me all the time, they say, Chad, why isn't Texas more like South Dakota? Why isn't Texas more like Florida? I said, I don't want to be South Dakota or Florida. South Dakota doesn't have its own toast. They don't have waffle irons in the shape of Florida. No one can tell you what the flag of South Dakota looks like. We take the Texas flag and you girls turn it into a bikini and float down the river in the summer. God bless Texas women. You're way too beautiful to be masked. So, folks, I want to remind you, it's going to take people like you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for Clay. Thank you for all these gentlemen and these ladies, these folks who want to do something and hold feet to the fire to fight tyranny. I'm reminded of the words of the poet Walt Mason 100 years ago. He said, there's a man in this world who's never turned down wherever he chances to stray. He gets a glad hand in the populous town and out where farmers make hay. He's greeted with pleasure in deserts of sand and deep in the aisle of the woods. Wherever he goes, there's a welcoming hand. He's the man who delivers the goods. And when I see gentlemen like Clay Clark and General Flynn and so many others I could just list, Pastor Greg Luck, prayers for him and his church in this aftermath. They're men who deliver the goods. And there's ladies in this room that deliver the goods. I want to make sure that when we show up with substance, that we filled our minds with truth to the point where we can speak into that power and reveal light in that darkness. But folks, it's not going to happen in a soundbite. We've got to educate our minds. We've got to disciple our way of thinking, understand our Constitution. Because listen, I've read everything that I can find on SARS and COVID and coronavirus and all these other pandemics. I've read it. I don't understand any of it. And neither do the doctors or scientists. But I want to tell you folks right here, I've read the Constitution. I've read the Texas Constitution. I've read the U.S. Constitution, and I understand those. And one of the things about them that I understand very clearly is that the Constitution wasn't written to keep you safe, and the Constitution wasn't written to keep you healthy. The Constitution was written to keep you free. That Constitution was written to keep the government over you in check. And folks, it's time we get government out of our lives. If you want to find me, you can find me at Prather2022.com. Or you can just find me. I'm all over the state of Texas. I love this place. The spirit of Texas is caught, it's not taught. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you catch it, it's more contagious than COVID. And you want to give it away, folks. So God bless you. God bless every man and woman in this room. God bless Texas. God bless America. And let's make this fight matter. And let's make it real. Let's keep our liberty alive. Thank you, Clay. God bless you.